Talk about home affairs. Hey. In diaspora. Current affairs. Reliable information. History. Talking about culture. Politics. Education. Entertainment. Business. Sports. Advertisement. Articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday. Focus.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of Focus on Liberia we call What Catch Your Heart. Every time, we all are thinking about Liberia, but there are certain things that are so dear to your heart that you want to share. Those are the things that keep you up at night. You keep thinking about it, and you think something can be done about it like yesterday. So tonight, we're going to be discussing what catch your heart. What is that burning thing on your mind for Liberia that you want to share? I have with me two guests, but we want all of tonight. Everybody is a panelist. We want you to call in and tell us what exactly is in your heart that you want to share. I have with me Jackie Sayegh, who's a host of the Literary Hour and also the Essay Hour. Jackie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dennis. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Let me also welcome for the first time on Focus on Liberia. We call him Frank, but his full name is Franklin Ben Weller II. Welcome, Frank. Welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you very much, Dennis. I'm happy to be on your platform.
Thank you. And by the way, this is your first time on the show, so we want to hand you a ceremonial cola to say welcome and thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much. I'm happy that you have not forgotten your custom and tradition.
Thank you. We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. If you have not done so already, please share the show and let's talk about what catch your heart. Right? Plenty of things, this guy said plenty things on my mind. So, first of all, before we discuss the thing that catch our heart, Jackie, what do you like about this topic? What catch your heart about this show? What does it enable you to do?
I think, Dennis, I like it because there are a lot of things that we worry about, especially in our personal lives. And I think for me, there are a lot of things that I worry about Liberia, and I want to know that others are thinking about it as well. So it's nice to come on the show and discuss with other people and with you and with my brother, Franklin Ben Weller.
Frank, when you got the invitation to come on, what catch your heart? What was the thing running in your mind? What do you think you were coming to do?
Well, thank you again, Dennis. Really, I was a bit hesitant, but I felt that I must be a catalyst to share it because there are so many people who want to talk, but they do not have the platform to come. We all share the same views or the same concern of our beloved country. So I decided to come to probably be a little mouthpiece for those who are not able to talk.
Thank you. And Francine, this is your first time. Anything you want to share about yourself? Because I like how you say a little mouthpiece, and that's why you were strategically picked to really represent a very big population, a very big section of our people to express yourself. So tell us a little bit about yourself that you want people to know.
Frank is just a simple man, country boy, mother Gola woman, late Gola woman, father from Sierra Leone, migrated to Liberia, went to school, University of Liberia, went to the Foreign Service Institute, and went to Bawageda Graduate School. I have a daughter who goes to Howard University, who is doing double degrees, and I'm very, very proud of her. So anywhere I go, I will say that.
Yeah. I too am attached to my daughter, so that way, so these guys and their daughter. All right. So, Frank, I want to start with you.
Okay.
What catch your heart?
Well, Dennis, again, there are several things when Jackie told me that you invited me on the show. So many things came to mind, but I tried to beat myself to narrow it down to at least three.
Let's start with the first one.
Okay, the first one. Uh, that's the two-speaker scenario in
Hey.
Liberia.
Mhm. Why?
Okay. You know, every time we say to ourselves, Liberia is a very unique country, and we are strategically located geographically in West Africa. Uh, I have not, maybe somebody will correct me. I stand to be corrected. To know, to see two two speakers simultaneously running one parliament in my life, and it concerns me a whole lot.
Mm.
And the parliament supposed to be uh, the first branch of government, and they directly represent the people from all spheres, every direction, from the four corners of Liberia. So if they do have a problem, like our people can say, they should go under the Palawa hut to solve the problem. But it has reached to the point where they are washing their daily linens outside.
Mm.
And coincidentally, I heard, and I think that the speaker of Ghana and the speaker of Sierra Leone are in Liberia currently to have some reconciliation meeting. So it catches my heart. But their attention bit and pieces to what happening in in that scenario that had degenerated to a certain point that probably I will want to expand on if I have the time.
Thank you. Jackie, some people don't see it as two speaker. Because you say, oh, this other one legitimate, this other one is not legitimate. And sometimes I struggle how to even call them, right? Is it majority block speaker, former speaker, and all those different things. That what catches Frank Hart, right? Jackie, how you feel about that? Is that something too that you worry about?
No, I worry about it only in terms of appearances, how it looked to the outside world. I feel like the constitution is clear. If you don't want the speaker, you vote the person out with the requisite amount of votes. So if that doesn't occur, then we still have just one speaker, regardless of whether people recognize the other one or not. Authority is vested in the constitution. The constitution says this is a legitimate speaker until you have the votes. So until they have the votes, we recognize one speaker. I think the problem is when people who are in authority are either confused or because of their own reasons, they start to recognize or give authority to the other person when the other person authority is not vested in the constitution. So I think that and that's what Ketch has called Frank's heart, but not mine, because I think the constitution is clear.
Right. And Frank, the reason why I too this is something that keep me up at night is the reflection. They went to for instance to the Equals Parliament where we send people. One speaker, Richard Kuhn, recalled those that were there, and then one of those Representative Mama Briggs got confused because she's being there from the old, and now the other people say we're going to withdraw those ones and do new ones. So come on our side. Those kind of things, right? Now they went to ECOWAS Parliament, and ECOWAS Parliament said it looked like you can read, and I'm paraphrasing, because this is what is written in our law. How do you not know that? And then Edwin Snow, who has been in that ECOWAS Parliament almost forever, told them that, hey, you are proceeding wrongly. And nobody listened, only to go there and get embarrassed. So how do we look now, before our colleagues? I think you are right.
You see, Dennis, you are right. Internationally, it's a shame because Liberia has been looked upon as the beacon of peace, like a big brother, even though our country is small population, all these things. But we see Liberia from the time South Africa has its apartheid, Nigeria had their problem with their civil war, Ghana was struggling with their independence, and Sierra Leone. Liberia became the melting pot. To see us now degenerate to this point that we had, like Jackie said rightly, we got speakers, whether that majority or minority, I do not buy that. If we have a secret document in our country called the Constitution, and these people are representatives of the people, and they blatantly try to violate this Constitution, it becomes concerning and very embarrassing just because some people have ego and they try to circumvent the Constitution and do what they think they should do. And besides that, Dennis, they have their own rules and regulations in the house. Like they trash it. Now, what my concern is, and what probably the young children concern will be in the future, what type of or kind of examples are we setting? Take for example, if the soup children then decide to go and say, oh, they don't want a university president, or so many other things people say they don't want, or they decide to say they're demonstrating, they did that, they do that. How these people who are supposed to be quote unquote the elders of the country will go and sit down and be able to convince these students when they themselves cannot clean their own backyard. So it's concerning.
Very concerning.
And one thing I want to mention, Dennis, is that when we talk about ECOWAS, like a lot of people would say, oh, ECOWAS says that the Liberian government must pay Madam Samuel Doe, right? Mrs. Samuel Doe, or must reinstate Cabinet General. People fail to understand that in the African Union, or they have the PAP protocol, right? So that protocol, even if, for example, you leave the ECOWAS and you go to AU and you say, I'm here for redress, the PAP protocol only create what we call model laws, right? The PAP protocol and the African Union Commission, they can only make recommendations. They do not have the power to enforce those laws. They make a recommendation to the country, and if the country is a country of laws, then they will say, okay, we will follow this recommendation. But ECOWAS, ECOWAS and the African Union cannot force a country to say we're going to sanction you. They don't have that power. They can only recommend. So if ECOWAS comes or the African Union comes and says, well, you have to reinstate the speaker, it is up to the government of Liberia. The people must be willing, the people in power must be willing to say, you know what, this has reached a point where we have to now resolve this issue. As Frank says, there's no way that you can have two speakers in a House of Parliament.
And my last thing before we go on it, Frank, I don't know if you can comment, is with the paralysis, and it's been like so long now, doesn't that tell you that these people were not doing anything in the first place? Because if they were really doing something, we would have felt it by now. With this paralysis for 3, 4, 5 months, and things still go on as usual.
And Dennis, I beg to come in again and take a look at it from a different angle and a different perspective. Okay. This is my view. With the debacle that is going on in the parliament, we saw the burning of the historic building. A shame. I was going to Liberia and I met W. Comini B, who is a former senator of River G. I said, well, what's going on? And then he said, oh, I met him in Brussels. Then he said, oh, I heard they burned the capital. Lawlessness, one. Number two, we saw the quote-unquote the majority leader forcibly went and black booted the speaker's office and illegally entered the office to evict the speaker that was constitutionally elected according to the constitution and their own laws. Number three, recently, I guess about 2 weeks ago, we also saw the majority leader took the laws into his own hands by damaging another representative's vehicle, entering into it. He has the power, quote unquote power, to go and dialogue with that representative and say, look, man, if and only if that was his parking space, say, man, can't move your place. And if the man decide not to, then of course he can get a tow truck to remove the place, but not to call police to remove it. So you see how the two speakership has not degenerated to a point where they will soon start throwing blows among themselves.
All the cussing. Thank you, Frank.
That's it there now.
Right. So it has already degenerated the burning and all the vandalism of the car and all that.
Well, there you go.
Despicable. Jackie, what catch your hat?
Oh, then there's a lot of things. Yeah, a lot of things. I think Frank and I, we agree on education. The educational system in the country is not going very well. I hope Frank agrees with me.
Yeah, sure.
Frank? Yeah, that it is not going anywhere. That's the one thing Frank and I, we agree on. So we look at the religious statistics, and we found that it said that in 2023, Liberian government expenditure on education was 2.4%, and the educational sector budget increased from 12% to 14.8%. But yet, I'm worried because they're saying now, and it was actually interesting to me when I was looking at it, that Bassa has the highest rate of students not in school, 77%. So I was like, but Bassa is right. It's close to Montserrado, is it not?
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah, so Bassa has a higher rate of students not in school, 77%, followed by River Cess, 77.2, Bong County, 74.9. And the interesting thing about that, Dennis, is that if you look at the statistics, the counties that have the high rate of students not in school are the places where there are not a lot of schools. So walking to school in Bassa, it takes 33 minutes. And it says that in River Cess, it takes 24 minutes for you to walk to a school. So no wonder they are very, very low. I say Grand Bassa, Bong, Grand Cape Mount, Papulu, and River Cess have more than half of the population. They have not attained any level of education. And that bothers me. With the youngest population that we have in Africa, this bothers me a lot. And that's what catches my heart.
Oh, and really, I think I think our friend Philip Plevon summed it out very well when he wrote that article. In fact, we're going to have him to explain that.
Yes.
Because if you look at the statistics, see what you just said. Those not in school, and half of the population that have not attained any education.
Yes.
And we're talking about a population of Liberians at least 5 million persons. There's a very small population compared to other African countries. So if half of that small population, or if the statistics this high, 77% out of school,
yeah,
it's scary, Frank. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. And I do agree with Jackie with the statistics she brought up and things like that. But let me take it to another angle. I drove to Bassa and I drove somewhere around Boma Road, Kakata area. Schools. The children sitting down on the floor, cold mud floor. Teacher He even get chalk to write. At least to say they're not being paid on time, or the meager salary and not even they're not receive their own take home pay cannot take them home because it's not forthcoming. Then in Monrovia, where I was living, I got up, I was right opposite the city hall. I got up every morning or in the evening. What did I see? Jackie said, or you said too, that we have a very youthful population, which is very good for our country. These are the future leaders of our country. But what did I see? I saw so many of them on the street, like street hawkers, selling one orange, selling two banana. Thank you. Now, tell me. Then you look at the motorcyclists. These motorcyclists are between the ages of, I got scared. I can't ride motorcycle. I can't ride keke. Because I'm scared. I mean, these people are not even my daughters, my daughter older than them. But 15-year-old riding a motorcycle, he has been introduced to money at a very early age, and they are forgetting about preparing them. And guess what? The people who are giving them these motorcycles to drive are the same called leaders of our country. They are exploiting our youthful generation at the expense of these children. Now, Dennis, I will step a bit more. Going back to these schools in the interior, especially in the interior, Moria will not. When I was growing up, in fact, there were nice schools. Let's assume that the education ministry bring back, or agree that they must even bring back the nice school. Okay, you're who riding motorcycles will know that some of your little bit old or you can't make it in the morning. You got to go look for your daily bread here and there. But in the evening, go to school. I grew up, I know nice schools and plenty. I think Jackie or you will attest to it. We who came from Liberia at that time. That's another way of educating our youthful people. But yeah, one man owned $60,000 car. He got gas slip. He got what you call it, coke. All the immunities, he got it. But they forget about the constituencies. In fact, one of my friends told me that, oh, the other guy said he's a senator, and when they asked him, he said, well, I bought it because he gave them, and that's the sad thing, 25 kilogram of rice and fada for 9 years. This is disheartening. Dennis, you know how many people, Jackie and I went to the University of Liberia. The library, our alma mater, it was dusty like a deserted village, a deserted place. That building, the entire time will collapse. We went to Africana, nothing but dust. The people are sitting down, so pitiful. Nothing is happening there. Jackie and I will walk to the park, the University of Liberia Park. We saw some children. We had to beg them to give them a small thing to even clean the park. There is no vision. Our leaders in the country have no vision. They are grabbing, they are chasing money and forgetting about the youthful population that they will. And the other portion of it, their children, if they are in Liberia, attending good schools. If they are not in Liberia, they're in the US or they are in Ghana. Now, tell me, Dennis, is that a fair football game, football fee? It hurts me. It catches my heart. So Jackie and myself were on the same. We agree on the same issue when it comes to education.
I think, Dennis, people miss. They don't understand the connection, or let me say, they don't see the clear connection between education and development. If, for example, a company is coming to Liberia, right? Like in Southern Africa, when the companies are coming, they want to get some of the mine workers, because the mine workers, they follow instructions. Some of them can read, right? So if a company is coming to Liberia and they say we need to employ people, they want some people who can not only work, but who are able to read instructions, right? I'm able to manage this machine. I can do this. So you don't want an illiterate population, because the era of just bodily work is over. Most of these bodily functions, bodily work can be done by AI, right? They want you to be able to say, okay, can I program this? can I read the instructions for this? You know,
Yeah.
and it's going to be very difficult, because if you say, I don't need education, I can be a custodian, they have robots doing that now. So I think that there's a disconnect with with the powers that be to say, okay, we need to train our young people for the future, but in which areas? When Frank and I were when we were walking at the university, when we met these students, we asked them, and some of them public administration. Oh, what are you majoring in? Public administration. And I said to them, have you looked at the economic outlook handbook? It tells you the careers that will be in demand in the next 10 years. None of them had seen the book. So if we have career counselors at the university,
Yeah.
to be steering people towards that, you know. So I think education is one that Frank and I agree on.
And thinking about that, if you just think about it, because I was teaching in the refugee school system in Guinea right after the war, from 1991 all the way to like 95. What we noticed was when the war started, so you found out that, especially we were closer to Yekepa, Nimba, so where you have schools like Carroll High School, Last High Schools, and all these good schools. So to teach those children in high school, because they have just come from they have come from very good schools, so it was easier.
Yes.
But then as we move on to 93 and the gap was building,
Yes.
the people that came, in fact, anytime we give the entrance test, they won't pass. And then the authorities say, hey, this is refugee school time. You can't stop anyone from attending school.
Yes.
So
That's
whether they fail
mediocrity.
or pass,
Yes.
they got to be there. And then from there, I saw the gap kind of building and widening little by little. This was around 93, 94, 95.
Yeah.
That is,
now.
right.
Because when I graduated from the university, Frank and I was hired as a teaching assistant in the English department. And Mr. Vafley at the time was the head of the English, and he told me, Dr. Dwamina was they told me, you can only teach 003 English. You cannot endeavor to go to 101, because you just graduated from the university, you're going to be teaching remedial, right?
Yeah.
But you have people graduating from the university, and the next minute they're calling them professor. Because Nigerians love the term professor. In Southern Africa, we have we have students who've done PhD in law, and they're teaching, and they're called lecturers, right? And when you say professor, they say, no, I have not published. Then they have to publish, right? Then you go to assistant professor, associate professor, and then professor. But the minute somebody graduates from the university, everybody, prof, no. And those things kind of make people believe that they're able to teach higher level classes when they aren't able to teach higher level classes. So I think the educational system in the country needs to be entirely revamped.
And where is this problem coming from? Because somewhere I read, the person called these students, they call them victims. And that word was very powerful when I read that, because the people we're talking about now, somebody going to, and everybody doing public administration. And the next thing I always hear is this procurement and all these kind of things. Who is telling them? So whose responsibility it is to teach these children or to put in the right infrastructure? So what do we do, Frank? Where can we start the fixing?
Well, Dennis, I tell you what, during our days, maybe from the university level, we had our professors, we had our chairpersons, we had our deans, and all the rest of it. And it was a small, knitted community, but every teacher will guide students along the way, be it in your minor or in your major. And they guide you. Say, for example, you go do elective. They know your potential. I went to the university to go do economics, but I know math. I'm good at math like Dennis. So this guy came, Dr. Alpha Bar came. My man, the guy was dancing, teaching all English, including my friend, Bay Allen, Dr. Bay Allen. Bay Allen went and did a minor, they elective. Then he said, oh, my friend, a professor not come. But anyway, bring it back. Here in high schools, our American system, and these people, majority of them also have school in America or in the West. They got guidance counselors. They got people who tailor these people profession and careers. They got job coaches. But we don't have that. And the worst of all, the proliferation of higher institutions. We don't have the structure. I heard the other day, Collington trying to get PhD in divinity, and then LU trying to get PhD, I don't know whether they're in public administration or whatever. I stand to be corrected. But when you pick up the phone to call Liberia, it's so frustrating, Dennis. I know this is not strange to any one of us. Every minute the phone is cutting off. Internet is poor and weak. Now, then on top of it all, there are Liberians in the diaspora who are willing to make the sacrifice to teach. Because one thing I can tell anybody, if Liberian people didn't love their country, I will lie to you. We love our country. We love our country. They are willing to. But when the structure is not there, then you want to push it because this country having PhD. Like I was listening to one guy, I think I sent it to Jackie. They tell you the amount of the kind of universities in I think in Kenya or somewhere, Jomo Kenyatta University, Makerere University, Sierra Leone, you got Farabe College. In Ghana, you got the Kwame Nkrumah University of Technology and Science. But look at LU. Look at LU. This is my alma mater. It hurts me. It pains me. But they don't even have the textbooks. What they're doing, sad to say again, like Jackie alluded to it. Man graduated from LU, he got BA. He now stayed in LU long time. He circled all the university everywhere doing master's degree. So once he's teaching there, everybody can easily get master's degree. But they don't have the books, current books. So what they do, you go to Fender campus, Dennis, there is a sea of generators and copy machines. They just copy the old book. They make pamphlet. Your grade depends on you buying that pamphlet. Now, are we giving them quality education or quantity education? You look at Dennis, just simple thing. Read the daily newspapers them online or anywhere. Do you see how these journalists then write? Their spellings, their grammar.
They see really catch Chris
No,
but
yeah,
but
Jackie.
if we let's try and find the other things that catch your heart. But
Okay, yeah, let's go. I will stop that far.
Yeah, no, I think the thing also is that this is my last comment on it, is that the National Higher Education Commission, they what criteria do they use to say that a building is more than a building? It's the quality of the teachers. How can you say this is a university when they don't have capable teachers? And I think another thing where we missed the boat, Dennis, is that I think elementary school up to maybe 9th grade should be free, because that's the beginning. Kids need to learn. So when you reach 9th grade, even when you go up now, then you can decide if you want to continue. But literacy must be the thing, because when you get to college, you don't have to go to college. It's a choice. But high school, but secondary, primary school, those are things that should be free. And this thing about
and Jackie, you can talk about free if there's a government institution, right? In Monrovia, somebody was giving me this.
Cap. A private school, you can cap. You can say, okay, private school from kindergarten or from 1st grade to 5th grade, the most you can say for school fees will be maybe $500 or something.
And Jackie, that's what I was getting to, because even who's giving these people the licenses,
yes,
to operate the school. Right now, school is the second business. So if you go, maybe you started a coal farm and the people stole your coal and your machine. The next business you want to start is school. I was talking to somebody, and it's almost every neighborhood. So there is no residential area in Liberia, especially the Monrovia area anymore. Everywhere is just noise. The schools are everywhere. And most of them, somebody was telling me, since for 40 years now, there has been no public high school built in the Monrovia area.
Because you see, Dennis, in I think in China, and they said in Rwanda, the public schools are so good that people are leaving. They are abandoning the private schools to go to the public schools, right? There's nothing that says because it's a public school, it has to be bad. You can put resources there and make, so when someone say, I graduated from a public school, from Tutmore High, from Newport Junior High, that should mean something, you know. But you have all these 2x4 schools that don't have windows, don't have anything, but they're schools. And then every step they want to graduate, your child is graduating from kindergarten, you want to spend $500 just for the child to walk. You know, you get to sixth grade, you want another money for them to graduate. Some of them can barely read a paragraph, you know, and then from high school, oh, then that's the $1,000, and then from college, oh, you've done so well. You know, we have to stop saying at least the person graduated, and see education as a way to uplift the country. You know, so that's our second one, right? Is that the second one?
Yes.
Okay. The speaker and education. Okay.
Both of you agree on that. And where I want us to end it is, I mean, this is a terrible place to be. How we get out, that can take 2-3 shows. But outrightly, what we are spending on education is very low. We also see that, especially outside of Monserrato, as you said, Frank, I had a friend who went to Sino Pinestown. He said when they went to the school, they started giving their pens, their little writing pads. They didn't go there for that. But when they saw the teachers, they will even go in the car and search for any sheet they can find just to give it to them. And this is and as a result, the children in the interior now, they have no incentive of going to school. I mean, I went to the school in the interior up to 9th grade. This was one of the best schools in the country. But now nobody wants to go there because, in fact, the teachers, those that had little qualification, they said they reached 60 years old, they retired them. The younger ones that were there left and went to Monrovia to get their master's degree or BSc, and they never went back. And so areas like that, there are no teachers. The few people that, you know, that need teaching themselves are the one teaching. And so I don't know where this is going to all end up if it is not corrected like yesterday.
You know, Dennis, there's this thing they call cemented grave situation, erupting at the bottom. Mm-hmm. That's where our country is. Whether we like it or not, that's where our country is. Yes, schools are there, but do they have solid foundation? No, it's not there. Because, again, it boils down to the leadership of our country. If they can make that sacrifice. Look, Dennis, let's put it this way. Look at the budget. I will be very blunt with you. Look at the budget of the vice president, president pro tem, and the speaker of the house. Look at the cars and they ride. Look. You just show a picture of most schools. Is that a reality? When Liberia, they used to call all petit American. Now look at it. The children come here. I know some people have come to the States here. They say they graduated from LU. They went and took community college tests. They can pass. Community college. And in their major too, not just like, okay, the person did mathematics, they got BSc in mathematics. They can't even pass the math. 101 math.
Okay, we got one more catch in your heart.
Okay,
but Dennis, I mean, quickly to echo what Frank is saying. You know, we graduated from the University of Liberia. That's why we keep calling it LU. And I always say to the people that we had quality education. Mm-hmm. People like to say Ellen Johnson was educated at Harvard. No, Ellen Johnson was educated in Liberia. She got her advanced degrees, like us. We got our advanced degrees, right? Abroad. Mm-hmm. But there was an education given to us in Liberia that enabled us to be able to come and hold our own with people who were here. So I think that we should have that. So what's the third catch your heart?
Jackie, let me just push the point in quick. Just based upon what you said. Samuel Doe. He didn't go nowhere out of the country. He came from, they said, that night school, 9th grade. But look at the guy. In 10 years' time, he was well up there. He prioritized education. I
Yeah,
will
that's
stop
true.
there.
Okay, what's your last catch your hat?
Yeah, what catch your head?
Who, me?
Yeah, your
Yeah,
last one.
and let me
that is
announce to our
that is-
audience, let me announce to our viewers that what catch their hat, they can share it, and we'll put the phone lines up very soon for them to share on the call. But at the meantime, you can please write what catch your hat. Go ahead, Frank. Anything else?
that the healthcare system, again, Dennis, these are all intertwined with all what we're talking about.
Mhm.
Our country is small. We got, to my knowledge, I know, 3 major hospitals: the Jackson F. Do Hospital, JFK, and Catholic hospitals. If they can elevate these hospitals and pay those doctors, then to go to medical school is not easy. Just give the man $1,000 a month, so it'll be all right. Getting the build houses around, it'll be all right. But look at our government officials. It have become a norm. If your hair hurt, you don't go to Ghana, then you can't get well. If you got sore on your foot, where they got penicillin in Liberia, if you don't go to Ghana, you can't get well. And the little things, it look minute. You know, those guys then when they're flying from Liberia to Ghana, first class, they're going to top 5-star hotels. Then the doctor fee. There's a flight of needed resources that can be put into our healthcare system that we don't need to go anywhere.
Another thing I agree with Frank on this one, but another thing people always say, oh, Liberia needs doctors. We need doctors, but we also need the supporting structure. We need nurses, we need phlebotomists, we need laboratory assistants, and people forget that the climate health affects your health. When you're burning wood and you're burning the forest, or you're using all these cleaners that are not good for you, then you can't breathe. You have to run to the hospital. So if your surrounding is dirty, Dennis, obviously it's going to affect your health. And just to tell you that in the 2024 budget, the draft budget, 75 million was allocated for health, right? And then that was a draft budget, but the appropriation was 79 million. Then additional resources was given for referral hospital operations, right? But we have doctors who are running their own clinics. We have nurses who insult people when they come. My fear going to Liberia was that sometimes the first thing you do, how when you go to the hospital, people ask you, are you diabetic? But Liberia, some of the places you go, the first thing they want to do, give you glucose, or and you're like, are you going to ask me my medical history? A lot of people know my story. My mother, as a young 43-year-old, she got surgery on her stomach in JFK. Yeah. And Frank is my brother. My mother was at the girls' dorm. She was the matron, and my mother was in the bed, and the nurses forgot to put up the bed rails. My mother got up from her anesthesia and fell on the floor and bled to death. When I left here to go back to bury my mother, the nurses, they were all just, oh, that's the woman's daughter. That's the woman's daughter. It was the young German doctor who had operated on my mother from Doctors Without Borders, who was so angry and came and told me what happened to my mother. The surgery went well. She fell out of the bed. So the incompetence, the desire for money. I went one time, I got a prescription, and I asked the pharmacist, what are the drugs I cannot take with this one? And he said, I don't know. We are dying, Dennis, from incompetence.
Yeah.
We are dying from lack of knowledge. We are dying from things that are easily preventable. That's what we're dying from.
And Jackie, I have a friend, one is a midwife, the other one is, pregnant. And so these people, when you go to hospital, taking money from the people just to write the name, especially if it's government hospital, it's just like normal. And they don't think that there's anything wrong with it, right? It's like, this is how it should be. The other one is pregnant. Went there, they say, I don't know, it's a tradition. I never heard it. If you are there and you carrying a boy, the price is higher.
Oh, I didn't know that.
If that's a girl, it's lower.
Huh?
Even you go buy the baby clothes, the boys' clothes more is higher. Anything, if you are doing ultrasound, if a boy you pay more, girl you pay. I mean, and those things they were sounding funny, but I didn't want to. I said, well, maybe I'm just out of touch. Taking bribe, taking money. I mean, just to sit down, just to get your name down. It's like normal. And doctors, nurses, or midwives, all these people they do that, and it's okay.
And Dennis, Jackie says something. Let me just add to it. In Morovia, I stay most of the time in Morovia, December, January. And this is the time we call it dry season. But Morovia was like cloudy. Why? Every Dick and Harry boiling something. The air quality is very, very, very poor. You will not notice it until you get out of Morovia. Then you begin to smell the fresh air from the forest, the wood, and things like that. But everywhere there is fire. Everywhere there is fire. I travel on the Ganabi Highway. I travel that place, even behind a Google restaurant and all. And of course, how they dispose of garbage.
They burning garbage everywhere.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Today, luckily for us, that decoration day, as you go clean the street or the graveyard, right there they burn it again.
So is that somebody who has Catch Your Heart? That is.
Yeah, Sister Goya said, what Catch Your Heart is, how can we improve the outcome of K-12 students outside of asking for resources that are not available? How can we be innovative with our minimal resources that are stretched so thin? The article I was talking about, we're going to bring the author here. It's like people can learn under trees.
Yeah.
And still come up to, I mean, I was born and raised all the way behind God's back. And even when we were on a farm harvesting rice, we're taking spelling contests.
Yeah.
That drive and that thirst for knowledge is no longer there. Because, and somebody said here, let me, Liberia Tabagi say, how can common people take education seriously when some of our influencers in Liberia are not educated or they care less?
That's what let me address that, Dennis. You see, when we were growing up, we saw education not only as a public good, right? But as a way to elevate ourselves, right?
Yeah, right.
So we walked. I lived Mama Point. Sometimes I never had money. I would walk. Me and my friend Lucia Mason Clark, we will walk to the university, right? Climb and go up. Sometimes we will be hungry when we are studying. We'll put our feet in cold water. Sometimes we come. We used to go to the United States Educational and Cultural Foundation to read because we saw it as being, if you become educated, you can uplift yourself. Now, the coup happened, right? We saw people who were not educated living the life that we aspire to, right, Dennis?
Yeah.
Because we said, if we work hard, we can be a minister one day, and all of a sudden, people who never worked hard, they attain these things that we thought only education gave us.
Right.
And that disconnect, Dennis, is still there. People say, let me just forget the steps that I have to go through. Let me just fly there. Not knowing that when you get there, what is expected of you is what you should have learned when you were going through those steps that you did not go through, right? Because and I always say that, when you go to school, it's making you literate, how to read and write. Education is the whole person. How you comport yourself, how you protect the privacy of person, how you speak to somebody else in a civil manner. All of those things make somebody an educated person. Mark Twain says, I never let my schooling interfere with my education. So schooling is different from education. So with CZ who wrote this, you don't have to look. We used to have book clubs, right? We used to, don't forget, we didn't have photocopy machine those days. We used to write. Dennis, the book Story of Nations, we couldn't afford that book.
Yeah.
We gave each one to our friend. They would write one chapter for us. Then I write the other chapter. Then we sit and study. These things can be done. Education is a holistic exercise. The parents come together, but now even when you go visit your friends, You know, they on their cell phone, the child on the cell phone, and then you
Yeah.
sit there. There are things we can do, Dennis. There are things we can do. Where I work, there's one book they choose every year. You know, I mean, yeah, every year for incoming freshmen, everybody has to read this book, and we do book clubs, like things fall apart. Everybody discuss it. There are things we can do. The
Yeah.
problem is the lack of political will, and the people who are up, they will thrive on an educated, I mean, on an uneducated populace.
Uneducated.
That's what's happening.
And Jackie, the teachers themselves are not, like you said before, BA teaching BA,
Yeah,
right? So because the teachers are, most of them are not competent, so they are not even able to incorporate things outside the
outside,
book in the
yes,
classroom. I was, every
yes,
time I call, then this young fellow, I think fourth or maybe seventh grade or eighth grade, is watching African movie and some movie.
yes,
I said, yeah, these movies are good, but will you go to class and the teacher assign a movie, knowing very well in Labrador they have season one, season of their movie.
yes,
Can the teacher now tell you, okay, watch this season, let's come and talk about the main character, let's talk about the plot, let's talk
yes,
about this? Or we just let people watch movie and that's it? Nobody try to incorporate them. Everybody now is attached to a soccer team in Europe or somewhere. Can somebody come now and do a little essay about the game they watch?
yes,
Or we just let these things stay on the entertainment side and school is a different side?
yes.
That's why
There's
when
a
we educate
disconnect.
them,
There's
yeah,
a disconnect. You can say, no, the teacher can do that, Dennis. The teacher has to be innovative. They can say, how is the soccer game like life?
yeah,
A soccer game is like life because there are obstacles. As you're taking the ball is you. And that goal is what you want for your life. So you have to keep moving. The teacher has to be innovative to keep the student, but they stand there and they teach by rote. One is two, two is four, like that. And, you know, and the child memorizes it. And the child, once they come out of the classroom, they say, "School have ended. I'm done."
and before you come in, Ben, that's the problem. If you are here and managing people in Liberia, that's the problem you face. They are not able to explain. They are not
Yes,
able to connect
yes,
anything.
yes,
Everything you want from there, you have to ask that specific question
yes,
because they are not used to writing paragraphs.
yes.
They are
They
not used to giving actual book report.
Yes,
So nobody gives you report. They want to just answer true and false, fill in a blank,
yes,
yes or no. Ben.
That's it. You see, Dennis, you said something just now. It catch my heart also. You say you were in the interior going to school and studying under the tree. I was at LU, no current in my house. We will go to JFK because they got street lights all around there. Me and my friend then will sit down there and read. So many big guys then, I know them. Some of them are in government, some of them are retired. We sit down there and read. And okay, you know how many light poles from Oro to LU?
I know.
There are two light poles, one on the left, one on the right. My man, 15 cents, we couldn't afford it to catch the bus. But 5, 6 or all, we jump on the holy buses and go to LU. We jump outside and things like that. Or else we'll cross the airfield to go. But we were determined, like Jackie said, because we saw a future ahead of us.
Education
There were
meant
people
something.
who were like our mentor.
Education really matters, you know, and we
Yeah.
have to, Dennis, another thing is that, like, even some of the diaspora, you know, if we go in a summer and we want to have like a little teaching, maybe 2 weeks of teaching things like research methods, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even the people that they think you want a job, right?
Uh-huh.
They start putting obstacles, you know, because they know they are not qualified. So they put obstacle and they say, and they will just turn you around until after your 3 weeks, and then you have to come back. So education, in the political will, Dennis, and the political will, they must make it a priority, Dennis. They must
Thank
make
you.
education a priority.
You
Yeah.
know,
Ladies and gentlemen,
Dennis,
if you are just joining us, this is Focus on Labrador, what catch your heart. And we say what catch your heart, we're using the Labrador catch, right? What really keeps you up at night, especially when it comes to Liberia? What's that thing that is so dear on your heart? Frank, I have mine.
Yeah,
Today
what's
was decoration day, right? And I see people are in the graveyard, they are decorating. Most of these graves look like, like houses. like
Mm-hmm.
Mussolini and all that, right? We have a problem with keeping our graves clean in Liberia. We have a problem of people they call, drug addicts and other people going and sleep in those tombs. So I was thinking, okay, these are the problem we have. Can we now look at the problem we face and do something? Let's say because we have the era of people buzzing the grave and going there to steal things and live there, maybe we don't have to do this grave and let's put people under the ground and just flatten it like most of the grave we see here, right? It's flat. They put a concrete thing there flat, and that's it. Nobody's going to dig that hole and go there. It'll be easy to clean. People are not going to go there to go steal things and go sleep in the tomb. So, how do we look at an existing problem and improve it and find a way to deal with it? The second thing I also look at is, in Morovia now we have fire, fire, fire. Can we look at that now and say, okay, based on this, these are the kind of houses now we should build so that when it's burning, at least everything is not going to burn to ashes? Can we look at the issues that confront us and based on that start to change through policies how we go on things? And I use the grave situation and also the kind of houses, even if they're not fire resistant, but at least can slow down the spread. That what catch
You
my
know,
heart.
Dennis, I think what I gather from you is what catch your heart is problem solving.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this. Just look at the Capitol building. Everybody that elected in that Capitol building at least make $15,000 a month. But there's no pipe-borne water there. People tow bucket to carry it. How many of them they could pay $1,000 to dig a well and put a whole big tank over there, and that whole building there get nice flush water and going on, keep that building sanitary. But we don't care about our own health. Dennis, I went to that Capitol building. I went there to visit one of my friends. I will not call her name. I wanted to, for curiosity's sake, I wanted to use the restroom. I'm a man. I couldn't use the restroom. Least to talk about woman. And this is a big guy. No water there. No tissue there. Paper. I say tissue, paper. So the whole place is clogged. See what we're talking
I'm
about?
sorry, Dennis. I don't.
Sorry, Dennis. But let
No,
me
I
leave it.
didn't mean
The
to laugh.
problem that we're talking about, these are all the problems. But one man making $15,000.
Yeah.
Are we really concerned about what is going on around us?
But Dennis, I think that I agree with you that we should have just slab with your name, your date of birth, and everything on. I don't think, Liberians, we as Liberians, we honor our dead. So what you're talking about is something that will be culturally anathema to us. So I think that the first thing is, I do not think that there should be a Center Street graveyard. It's too in the city. I remember some time ago when they tried to close it. I think it was the vice president then, Jewel Howard, who said, "No, no, 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 no. These are people graves and things like that." But really, Dennis, if you look at it, Center Street should be now a historical site, like how when you're passing some of these old graves here, and we need to start having burial grounds outside of the city. Not only that, there must be specifications, right? You can say because you die and your family has money, they must build a house, right, for you, and the other person have a slab. So maybe all of these comes into infrastructural requirements. Tell us what should be there. Now, as for the fire, Dennis, I have notes in front of me, but people die in fires because of the security reason. Let's talk about it about why first before we come to the fire. You go into bed in the night that has 6 different lock. You got to lock it, right? But listen to this: the security and rule of law sector, the draft budget, they were given 96.1 million, right? But the appropriation was 108.4 million. Now, forget about the rule of law, security and rule of law, right? You go to Liberia, of course, there are people who go out at night, right? But people still have in the back of their mind, oh, I have to go home. And when I go home, I have to lock my door. Remember before April 14 or whatever, we never had iron bars to our windows or doors.
No.
But now people have it. And then when there's a fire, you're looking for the key and the fire's coming to you. Now, I don't know the cause of the constant fires that keep coming to, maybe they are cooking in a house, maybe there's something, maybe there are cigarettes, I don't know. But what I do know is that you are right when you say just how here they say you must have 2 exits, right? You must have a window large enough to get out of, a window that doesn't have iron bar that you can break it and run, right? But because of the security reason, people don't have those things,
You can.
So the deaths from fire is directly proportional to the amount of insecurity we have in the country, and that's another thing.
And again, like Frank said, problem solving. So what it's like we're not even paying attention to say, okay, what can we do to solve this problem? Anytime we just think money, and then we will talk about the money, the disaster, and then that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
We have never sat to say, okay, these are the problems. This is how we should go about doing it. Let me throw in my second, the thing that catch my heart, right? Liberian program. I just attended one. I will not call the name. The way we organize our programs, first of all, the format is always the same. Ever since I was a third grade student in Dodwicken, you know, opening statement, introduction of the program, that vote of thanks and all these speeches is the same. Whether that church service, whatever service, is that same thing. Then the invocation that Muslim, those other one that could. Then the noise.
yes,
We go to a program and people are having conversation like they are not anywhere. People sometimes their back turned and they're just talking and talking and talking. Then we don't have even respect for the people. So if you went to a program, the program is supposed to start 4:00. It's starting 6:00. Can we not do something? Maybe waiting for the big man. Can we not put up activities? It could be a comedian. It could be, okay, while we're waiting, let's have a little panel discussion, or let's have some dance, or let's have rap competition. Something. But we're going to sit in that hall and it's just noisy and we are just waiting and waiting and waiting just to use that same 1973 format for program 2025. Every time I go to Liberia program, first we're late. The food there will be cooked because they say the program starting 8:00, so they prepare the food 7. But now we are starting 11 and we're going to eat that food 12. And it's all cold and unsanitized. This poor preparation and expecting to be late, and we say Liberian time. People that are coming, they want to come from their 11:00 job to come, even though they say 8. And those are the people we're waiting for to start. It gives no respect to those of us that have time, and really that bothers me.
yeah. I think it comes to. I will say Frank is done.
Yeah, Dennis, you are right. I'll give you 2 examples of people. The late William R. Talbot, they call him Speedy. He lives in Bento. His ministers then were living right on Center Street, Monrovia. They're somewhere there, everywhere. The man leaves from Monrovia and Bento to come to Monrovia. 5 minutes to 8, he is sitting down behind one minister's desk. When you come, you will meet your dismissal paper there. System in place. I work with this lady. I was a young boy working as a messenger at the University of Liberia with Jackie's mother, our mother, Dr. Mary Antoinette Brown Sherman, C.E. Zamba Liberty, Dr. James Tietape. These guys, they set example. They were role models, including, I will not call his name, but they were role models. When these guys walking on that campus, you can feel the aroma around them that motivated some of us. Their time, their this, their that. But this time now, like you say, the men who's supposed to set the example, they say the meeting at 4:00. It can't 6:00. Everybody waiting. The lackadaisical way of doing things. We can't be sitting down there, oh, yeah, because the boss can't, yeah, let us have a dance. No, let us have the meeting. If he can't, the meeting over, we'll go home. Then he will learn the lesson.
Jackie, what else catch your heart before we break in our callers and people to first. Let me. There are a few comments here that we want to address. Sister Goya said the question I asked was about the holistic approach, not to blame the consumers or the educators.
And
And
I answered that. I told him, I talk about the holistic approach that you have a community that upholds the tenets of education. You have a PTA, you have a reading culture, you have a library. Those are the holistic things that bring people together. So I don't know how else I can answer his question.
Labra Tabaki said you can blame the teachers; they are just trying to survive. If the people mindset are in survival mode, what other outcome do you expect? I mean, and trying to survive at the expense of the children.
Yeah, and
You,
don't blame the teachers. I mean, when you say trying to survive, then you're talking about budget again, that they should have adequate compensation. We're talking about not about the teachers who are qualified. We're talking about unqualified teachers. And even if those are qualified and they get paid pittance, you're saying that because they get paid a little money that they should push their values aside because they want to do what, to survive. I mean, we all want to survive, but there are some things that we have to uphold, you know? Yeah.
you see, Dennis, in life, people make choices. Nobody pushing you to do what you got to do. If Dennis decide to have focus on Liberia, yes. If that time now reach 6 o'clock, he comes there. Commitment. So if you decide to be a teacher, go to school and teach. It's
You,
not
you
a
know,
survival thing. It
you know,
is your
Dennis,
true heart, your
sorry.
commitment. You see, what I like about America here, everybody is controlled by the time clock. Me, I once said that they bring the time clock thing in Liberia. Can you imagine, Dennis, some people going to work 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, they say they're going to lunch. They come back 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, they say they're going home because car business hard. Is that not form of corruption also? So people are not really, really committed because the writings from the top.
Dennis, my father had the largest bookstore, national bookstore. That was my dad. And I used to work for him. And most of the time, he would find me in the corner reading, right? In high school, if I brought my report card and it had all A's with one A minus, he wants to know who got A plus, right? So it was like all you had to do was read. There was no social life. We just read, right? And this is and then my great grandmother, who I think barely maybe stopped in third grade, came from Rocktown in Maryland. The minute you come, she'd be like, "Have you done your homework? Huh? Come read a paper to me. What the paper say?" Those are things that upheld us as we're growing up. So that's the holistic approach I'm talking about. That when you leave the classroom, and the education doesn't end there. I think the second person we talk about survival, and again we answer that question. But is there what else catches people's heart, or we can wrap up?
Yeah, Labra Tabaki said, no, I'm saying giving the job to someone who is not qualified means whoever did the hiring did not do their due diligence.
I agree with Liberia Tobogi. It's true. Because either they know the person, if they don't know the person, then the person pay them. We have a lot of unqualified teachers teaching, and we need to weed them out. Let's start putting their CVs on, to see if they're qualified. Just because you graduated from high school doesn't mean you can teach a teach school. Maybe you don't have the knack for teaching, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah,
Jackie, what else catch your heart?
yeah, Dennis, I think for me, there's a lot of things. I think that I feel like the proliferation of sorry, Dennis, of a lot of talk shows, and what happened is that when I go home, I put Facebook on, or talk shows, because I like to listen to Liberians, discuss things while I'm cooking or something. The amount of false information, Dennis, and
Yeah.
people speak nonsense with authority. I think that's what gets to me. Sometimes I call in, sometimes I switch the page, because I just cannot believe that people, if you see something on Wikipedia, you don't say, oh, let me check the source. Who wrote this thing? Is it verified? They come and they talk, like their authority on a subject. I think for me, that really bothers me, because they say a little learning is a dangerous thing. But that's not the full sentence, right? It says drink deeply of the Perian spring or not at all. So it says either you drink deeply of that education or don't touch it.
Oh, don't touch it at
Or
all.
don't touch it. Because a little learning is a dangerous thing. Drink deeply of the Perian spring. So don't come and fool the people who actually want to learn something, and you're talking to them and they're taking it and say, oh, this person is correct. And another thing that really bothers me, and Dennis, they're the insults, the way some women comport themselves on social media. They bring such disgrace to Liberian womanhood. I'm sorry to say, they tear each other down. There are men who they have disdain for women. They don't speak well of women. They don't support women. There are women. Look, Dennis, let me tell you, I have been in cars with women in Liberia, higher up women, according to them. It has been raining and we are going on a dusty road, and there's a young mother with her baby on her back. And I would say, oh, maybe you should stop. Hey, I don't want her to get in my car. This is a feminist, a woman who says that she can support other women. I have been in houses where you eating, and the woman who takes care of your children, her child is sick. You don't want her to go because she gotta take care of your child, or you talk down to her, like she's your slave, or you eat, come get a plate from in front of me. Those things bother me. It bothers me. But then when you leave, you put a facade. I'm a feminist. I'm a man who empowers women.
Yeah.
That thing, more than anything, that thing catches my heart, Dennis. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah, Jackie. Let's take it one at a time. So Frank will come in. Let's start with the proliferation of talk shows, or every cell phone is a TV station by itself.
yes,
these
yes,
days.
That's why don't you jump in my gun, my man, Dennis.
Yes.
That's why I
Yeah,
wanted to come and talk.
yeah, and so now we have a scenario where if you are doing something with sense, you don't have viewers, so
no,
you
you
have to
don't.
be, bad. There's a lady I met at a program I attended. I say, I'm a social worker. When I got on the internet, I wanted to talk about social work, but nobody was watching me. So I started doing breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. So that everybody is coming, and you don't have breaking news, okay, or you don't have much. So what you do, you start to lie, you start to exaggerate things, you start to make up things, you start to look for, you say drama, they call it, and that's what people, because everybody wants entertainment, Jackie. So they get entertained, they lie about these things, and it bring in viewers. And so what if you're doing business and it's bringing in money, they continue that business. So that business is growing. Frank, you say I took something from your mouth, so let me let you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. You see, Dennis, in political science, the definition of political science, what my professor told me, the late Amos Sawyer, is the ability to control the thinking of others. Now, you see the microphone you sit behind, it's a very powerful instrument, and it's a very good instrument. But if you don't use it wisely, it becomes a weapon. And that is what is happening with most of our talk shows, hosts, with all these things. It's like they sit behind a microphone, like they have authority over knowledge. Nobody else got anything. When you have a discerning view with them, they cut you off. Then they begin to downplay you behind there because you can't talk again. But if our people are using the microphone positively, what you and Jackie and I are talking, it will go a long way. Even those that are listening to us, it will go a long way in changing the mindset of people. But people are not realizing the damages they are causing. In the first
Frank,
place, in America here, I
Frank,
listened to you, Dennis. You said our unfortunate people. But some of them, they say they call our people by the Z name. You can call somebody that way. Once you call him that way, that's why we will teach special needs children. Would call them they are challenged. We know some of them can speak, but we say they are challenged. We use a polite way of addressing their issues. But the mic, let maybe let our people know that people, they have followers, they have listeners, and they must be polite with the mic.
Dennis,
So, Jackie, before you come here, I wanted to take another side of it, right?
okay.
Because some of these talk shows or some of these people, or they call them influencers, I don't know what is causing it. Some of them we know to be very fickle. But yet people follow them. Okay, you saw somebody, let's say, supporting Jackie today. The next day he flipped from Jackie, or he or she flipped from Jackie to Frank. And we still believe that person. Just like I heard a story that a certain Liberian president had a prayer warrior. And the prayer warrior, they were in an inappropriate relationship. Yet, he still listened to that woman to pray. It's that you know the person is lying. This person was supporting Kennedy X against Kennedy Y. Today is the opposite, and he flips it around with no remorse, and you're still there. There are some people, we know them, that all they do is to insult people being vulgar and all that.
Mhm.
And you know that, and you're still there. So what is causing that? Is it because whoever supports our political side is our friend, or we just want to be entertained? I sometimes struggle to understand the mindset going that make people to follow people that they know really are not telling the truth.
I think it comes to values also, Frank. Dennis, because, like, for example, do you think time is important? Do you think somebody's time is important? So I've been to events where it started 3 hours later, right? And by the time we start to speak, the people say we need our place because you pay for only 3 hours, right? And so we have to get outside, and half of the program hasn't been done. So I watched some of the Liberian events. I think that it's not true that we don't respect time, because you see, when you say the class starts at 8 o'clock at school in the United States or wherever, you go to class at 8 o'clock,
Yeah.
right? But there's no punishment, there's no consequence for us being late. So, for example, if you have a keynote speaker coming, and the keynote speaker himself knows us, or he's one of us, he come 10 o'clock, the children know. They say, oh, but if you say, okay, it's going to start at 8, right? Whether you're there or not, the doors lock at 9 or whatever. But it comes to planning, right? Some people,
Yeah.
okay, the dinner is supposed to start at 8 o'clock. The people start cooking 6 o'clock, when you got to boil the meat, and the meat takes 1 hour to boil. So this thing about no this thing about civility, about politeness, about conducting ourselves with dignity. We have to start doing that, Dennis, because we cannot have the norm that, oh, they invited us somewhere. Oh man, let's wait until 3 more hours. Let's just rest because
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, and the noise. The noise. I mean, I don't know how to do that, except to say maybe the person who is hosting it can just say, can you take your seats? Can you speak to the person next to you? Can you lower your voice? Because I've been to a lot of events where people next door have come in to complain, to say, can you lower the noise? So I think that we are all guilty of that. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what catch your hat. Jackie, you had a final what catch your hat before we wrap up.
What,
Or Frank.
Frank?
Oh, Jackie, you said okay. The next one you said was the feminist
Yes.
who don't care. I mean, and even on the men's side, people. I have a friend who left from here and said, these people they respect you only when you treat them like this.
Yes.
So it's if you go there and start, in fact, if you are very relatable, they even question whether you are from America because you are not bossy. You
Yes.
are not carrying on the marks, somebody holding your water, the other person holding your bag.
Yes.
Okay.
Those are affectations of things. Dennis, let me tell you a story. I came on a student exchange for 1 year, right?
Yeah.
And then I went back home. Let me tell you about my great grandmother who made me what I am today. When I got home, some of my friends were coming to see me, right? And I'm in there, sitting there, and my great grandmother turned to me. She said, Jackie, and your friends coming? I said, yeah, ma. She said, but you're not going to cook rice for them to eat? So I'm just sitting, and I said to her, oh, but She said, no, the coal in the room. Go put the coal in the fire pot. My grandmother did not think that, oh, because Jackie crossed the ocean, it's any different. I turned around. I had come 1 week. I went, I put the coal in the coal pot. I light the coal pot. I cooked the rice, right? And that brought me back to reality to say to myself, just because you went doesn't make you any different. You would like that coal pot. You would do it. And my grandmother treated me no differently because I had just come here for a year, you know. And when I go home, there's Frank. I put my sneakers on and the friends were laughing at me. They said, you went down water side? I said, yeah, I tied my hair. So Dennis, what I'm saying, it depends on the person. If the person want to have affectations to put a t-shirt around their neck or to drink bottled water, I mean, bottled water, everybody drink bottled water because of safety concerns. It depends on you, but it depends also on our people. When you start, like when I get in a taxi and I have to squeeze in, I say, okay, man, there are too many people behind. Then he's like, where are you coming from? Liberians, they expect you to be different. Why? Why should you be any different? Just because if you lived in Liberia until you were like 20, 25 years old and you left Liberia, you cannot tell me you don't know where Sinko is. I stayed 14 years during the war in this place. And the first plane I took, I went home. My brother had to tell me, you will get lost. I said, no, I wouldn't. I walked Mama Point. I came down Newport Street. I met, some people that I thought had died. I went all around, So when you're over 25 and you come to the United States, some of us have stayed here for so many years, but we go home every year. But when you come back, don't start changing your tune. Or start acting like you any different, or start telling the people, oh, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, unless it's for your stomach reasons, health reasons. Don't put that affectation on you, because you will have to keep it up. If you're there for 1 month, by the time the 10th week is over, Dennis, I'm telling you, you start speaking real language, So no, I don't. Yeah, I think that some people, they try to affect, but I think some of our people back home, they expect us to be different. Because when I went home, they kept saying to me, how long you been in America? I'm like, I come every year, and my brother couldn't believe it. I went to fish market, I bought fish, I came, I cleaned the fish, I cooked gravy, we all sat and ate, So don't be doing that. Don't do that.
Frank, we're about to, we don't have callers yet now. Labrador, I don't know if there's Tabagi anywhere else besides Labrador. Yeah, it should be. Is that, and this is what I'm saying. It is all about the mindset that is in the Liberian society. I have a business. I refuse to do work for Liberian. Liberian mindset is very depleting. I have Nigerian customers who told me, you are my African brother. They rather give their money to me than the white man, and they bought more Nigerian to me. You see, that mindset is a mindset of success. We can, yeah, we still have Liberians who support one another. Frank, let's wrap up. If you have any final thing that catch your heart, else we can wrap up.
Yeah, the final thing is to appeal to our lawmakers. I'm begging them, let me go under the Palava hut and respect the Constitution. Let it do the right thing. They shouldn't be driven by money or ego. Liberia is greater than every one of us, and Liberia is the only country we have. If they have to remove Fanatic, I don't even know both of them, Fanatic or whoever, I do not know them, but let them follow the rule of law, because they are setting a precedent that tomorrow their own children will suffer from what they are doing now. The manager do it, they say, oh, because we are there now, we empower, so no. Let it go back to the drawing board. Let it go back under the Palava hut and iron this thing out. Let Liberia begin to move up again. There are investors who want to come to Liberia. But in this kind of dilemma, in this kind of debacle, who want to come and invest their money? We all suffer. Dennis will suffer, I will suffer, Jackie will suffer. Why? People will be calling our phone. And Independence Day coming soon, they'll be calling again. And we got to send money. So to avoid all that, let it put everything aside. Please, my people, these lawmakers, if you have woman, your wife, your husband, talk to your husband. Your talk. Your sit down and look at the big picture.
Frango, if they come back together and they're in session and they're doing all that, what difference will it make?
No, they can go through the constitution
No, I
and
mean,
remove whoever they want to remove.
if they are even functioning correctly, what good are they doing? Just
Well, then accountability begins to play. You know, but right now, look at what Kuhn did when damaged your car, and he went scotch free. Look how he went. Yes, he went and bust the door of the speaker. Nobody to talk. Look at the president himself. Let's bring it down to the president. He had no business to send a budget to a divided house. He abated it. He has a problem. So we all got to work the problem. And the Supreme Court, they speak some kind of big English. Then, of course, the Chief Justice said, no, the Justice Minister went and said X, Y, Z. So what I'm saying, what I figure, what I see, that he above the law or he know the law more than the Supreme Court. I don't know what they mean by ultra virus, but let the Supreme Court break it down. Like Mohammed Jaliba used to say, speak simple English for our people. Maybe when they speak simple English, our people will begin to say, well, yeah, that's true. Come go sit down. Kofa, go sit down.
You wanted to know what Ketch's hat, but he's telling you.
Then what Cash Mahal? Let the people go sit down.
Let's stop. We'll stop there and then wrap up.
Yes.
Jackie, your closing.
My closing is that I think that there's a saying that says the law is stable, but it must not stand still. I really think that we need a new constitution because it's moving with the times. That the constitution must reflect us and must reflect the times. I think that we need a discussion of what kind of country do we want? I know that the ANC had a document, right? The Freedom Charter, to say this is where we want our country to be, and they took elements of that Freedom Charter to put in the constitution. So South African constitution is one of the few constitutions on earth that have socio-economic rights, the right to adequate housing, the right to an education, things like that. So I think that Liberians, we need to start discussion. Where do we want this country to go? Who are we as a people? What values do we uphold? And the Constitution is an autobiography of the people. So when we look at this Constitution, do we see ourselves in it? So I think then it starts with the foundation. It's a document that we respect, and we need to have a look at it to say, this doesn't work. This works. Let's keep this one. We need to discuss things like that. So I think my closing comment will be that Liberia needs help. And when I mean help from its own people, help from within. As Raptel said, dignity must define us. We must be able to look at each other with love, look at our country with patriotism. We must be able to work together. We must be able to be a people that we can be proud of, a country that we can be proud of. I always tell people, I say, sometimes I've been ashamed for my country, but I will never be ashamed of my country. Never. There's a difference. Never. You're ashamed for it because it did this, but don't ever be ashamed of your country. My daughters always say to me, mommy, when people ask you, people don't even ask you, so now you just say, I'm from Liberia. And that's what we should say. We are Liberians, that's our identity. So I think, Dennis, I thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about what's on my heart. But I think that Liberians are a wonderful people that, every country has challenges, but I think we need to work together to solve our problems. Thank you.
Jackie, you raised a very important point I wanted to speak to for 30 seconds before you give the mark, right? That is, you said this constitution, we should have a new one. You're not talking amendments. You say, what kind of country we want? And because of South Africa did that, the constitution is just one of a kind. In Liberia, anytime you start to talk or something, we talk about international standard. Oh, this is nowhere. Let's say if we decided to say everybody to be president, you should have a bachelor degree. By the time you say something like that, they say, oh, there is nowhere in the world where this is done. I'm just giving an example. So with this mentality of this is not anywhere else, for us to arrive at that question is going to be a tough one.
But we can discuss. we can discuss. In the South African constitution, they recognize all the languages as natural resources. So if you go to the constitutional court in South Africa, the building, it has constitutional court. Then it has it in Zulu, in Xhosa, in every language that they have, because they say we respect all languages, and all languages, they are natural resources, right? So I'm saying that it may be, Dennis, that Liberians will say, this document has stood the test of time and we want to keep it. But let us come together. The Liberia of 1986 that created this constitution is not the Liberia of the post-war era, So there are things that we need to change. There
Yeah.
are things that we need to change. And this piecemeal amendment. Let's sit together. Let's sit together. And let me just say something, Dennis, before you close, because I have a very good friend who is a constitutional lawyer, right, and work on the South African UNOMSA, the mission to South Africa. He said that they didn't vote, right? What they did was they would take one piece of they say, should people be entitled to free speech, right? And they would take that to all the communities in South Africa. You will have town meetings, people would discuss. Now, what they would do instead of voting, you know what they would do, Dennis? They would say, okay, what can you live with? So the other side doesn't feel that they have been defeated. So they say, oh yeah, we can live with this. So little by little, everybody brought their thing together and they say, we all agree on this. We can live with this. Even the opposition say they want this. So that's how it went, right? So we can do this, then we just have to have the political will. And then before we even start doing that, Dennis, we need to have a discussion of what country we want. What country do we want? Do we want to remain as we are? What do we aspire to be? What values do we have as Liberians? You say Liberians are friendly people. Okay, if we are friendly people, do you want a welcoming environment? Do you want us to say every African, is welcome? We are an inclusive country. We need to start discussing what we want, and then we can go to the constitution. But you talk to somebody, I think you remember during the literary hour, we're trying to put a book together, and we ask the community to say, what does Liberia mean to you? We got four out of the thousands of people who are listening, or we got four, and two of them were just insulting Liberia. Liberia mean nothing to me. I don't even want to see that country. How can we as a people, move when you don't think, what is it? What does Liberia mean to me? So I think, Dennis, I think I've talked enough, but like I said, I want to thank you, but I think it starts with us. We have to have a discussion. Yeah.
Thank you. Somebody saw me at the VP program on the TV, and then they say, "Oh, Dennis, you're still there, hope for Liberia."
Look at that.
Frank, let's close.
Dennis, thank you so much for inviting me to be able to express my gut feelings and the love I have for my country. They say where there is no vision, the people perish. We shouldn't let the Liberian vision go down the drains. Let's put our ego aside and make Liberia first. I went to Liberia after 10, 15 years. Man, one thing I enjoy in Liberia, that I roasted cassava and the roasted plantain. I tell you, we're going to be, man, every day I will ask my nephew, please buy me roasted cassava, roasted plantain. And the oranges, real, you know how the orange can stand be on the tree, get ripe? When you suck in it, you enjoy it. That's the kind of Liberia I see. That's the Liberia I want to see my daughter going to one day. That's the Liberia I want to see, that we all sit down and laugh and smile. Let's stop this little bickering and all this thing. Power is nothing but vanity. Thank you again, Dennis. Hope we'll talk another one. Jackie, you did well. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Jackie, for coming on this Wednesday evening. We want to thank our viewers for watching, those who contributed, and even those who will watch this later. Still add your comment. What catch your hat? Liberia is the only country we have, and we came through our hands in the air and say, "Oh, somebody should do it." Today, I lost all respect for one young man who was in driving and said, you know, young man interviewing on FOL, and he was saying, under President Trump, the first Trump, and he said Liberia should be turned over to the United States. So I said, you are a young man. You are right here under Trump. Do you think he cared to take care of your country or American taxpayer? You want as a young person, is that what you aspire for your country? Somebody else should fix it for you. Who you think America is? People from Liberia, people from Japan, people from Spain, all put together and make one country. They should fix yours. And then you sit down and go back and enjoy. So let's do our very best to make our country that glorious land of liberty. And that's why we never close a broadcast without playing the song that says, "We are all Liberians." Have a good night and God bless you.
Dennis, call me.
We are Liberians.